Hey y'all, it's Pam with Living in Charlottesville. Thanks for coming by and stopping and spending a couple minutes. I wanted to take you out. I'm going to hop in the car and go to Louisa, Virginia. Had a lot of people asking a lot of questions more so I am shooting a bunch of pros and cons in Louisa, Virginia. So come join along. Real quick, let me share my screen with you. So if you look here. So here's where we're going today. We're going to go to Louisa. Now, when I say Louisa, I'm talking about the county of, which, if you look here, right along through here, that's the entire county. But if you then look at the town, you see it zooms in. So we're actually going to be in both areas because when you say Louisa, you're talking about the whole area. So come join me as I hop in the car and we head out to Louisa County. Thanks again for joining me. So we're getting right into it. Con number one of living in Louisa, and that's sort of what we're doing right now. Con number one is commuter time. Your commuter time is going to be greatly increased. Charlottesville, you're looking at, like 15 to 20 minutes. The commuter time here, because remember, we are outside of Charlottesville and Richmond. So it's going to be about 25 minutes to Pantops, which would be Charlottesville, and so about 40 minutes over to UVA, and then we're going to be about 40 minutes to Short Pump, which is going to be the outskirts of Richmond. So commuter time is going to be greatly increased. When you're getting the feedback, the US Data USA, the average commuter time for Louisa, just over 26 minutes. And then if you're looking at Facts by City, they actually give the commuter time as closer to 37 minutes. So con number one, commuter time. All right, so we are just right off the main throughway for Louisa town. And I'm just walking around and wanted to actually point out, because one of the big things that draw people to Louisa is actually the extremely low crime rate. But I was passing this and wanted to show y'all. This is Boxley Place, which is a beautiful, traditional, original Louisa homestead. And it's beautifully gardened right off the main road of going through Louisa. But talking about the low crime rate, let's take a walk and chat. As from niche.com, Louisa is ranked an A-. The low crime rate actually gives an amazing sense of safety and security. So that's a big draw. If you're not into the whole hustle bustle, you want more green space, you want more laid back, you want to be, and you don't want to worry about that, then Louisa would be a really good one for you. So there's a nice, sweet church right across the street. Now, as we're walking and talking, you hear or you see all the cars going by. That is actually bringing up con number two. Con number two. And well, let's face it, what's con number two? Con number two is a huge growth rate. It really expected, the growth rate is expected to explode. Now, why is that? Not like you're going to be Googling or Zillowing Louisa.com or whatever it is. But the fact is it is right between Charlottesville and Richmond. So it's about 40 minutes to one or the other. And that, because of lack of housing in each of those areas, a lot of people are coming here to Louisa. So I'm going to turn you around to give you another beautiful view. Again, just walking through the streets. These are all the everyday houses. Now, this is obviously not everywhere because of the huge growth rate. And according to Cooper Center at University of Virginia, Louisa is on track to be a leading growth center for the entire state, simply because the midway between Charlottesville and Richmond, both having lack of housing inventory, and little to no affordable housing. What the variety. So there you go. Would never know about sweet little Louisa. But again, this is one of the reasons you have to reach out. We have so many places that are tucked in, tucked away, and you would never ever know about. So you got to reach out to me. We need to talk about where you need to be near, what you want to be near, and then we'll figure it out from there. We got to work from the outside in. I can't just say, oh yeah, this house will be perfect for you, when in honesty, we need to figure out the area, then the town, and then go down to your street and find your house. So drop me a call, give me an email, shoot me a text. And while you're here, hey, maybe you can stay at the Boxley. So whether you're actually looking for green space or you're looking for commuter time split between Charlottesville and Richmond, another big pro. So pro number 2 for Louisa is going to actually be the cost of living. Cost of living here, remember Charlottesville is going to be slightly above, Richmond is above, but the cost of living here, according to payscale.com, is actually 5% lower than the national average. So that would be a lot of bang for your buck if you're looking at housing, utilities, groceries, everything. So there you go. Pro number 2, lower cost of living. Okay, that brings us to con number 3. I'm just down the street from the neighborhood that we were just looking at and walking in, but I thought this was a really appropriate place to talk about con number 3. And that is a big one, limited diversity. And I don't want to make that sound one way or another. I want to point out that it would be limited cultures, limited demographics, and limited experiences. Con number 3, limited diversity. So our next stop on our fabulous pros and cons of Louisa is actually going to be pro number 3. And that is the schools in Louisa are considered excellent. So you don't have to worry about paying for private school if you don't want to. The schools here, according to many sources, are absolutely excellent. Louisa County High School is actually ranked 84th in the state. So that's huge. They also have an outstanding sports program that a lot of kids excel in and go on towards college with scholarships and everything else. That's one of the reasons that families are drawn here, is because of the absolutely fabulous schools and the sports programs that go behind them. So pro number 4 in my list of pros and cons of Louisa, well, that is going to be just what it looks like. I'm sharing the screen, my computer screen with you, and I'm going to share some video too. But it's a really peaceful place. Obviously, plenty of lakes, there's plenty of pasture, there's plenty of green space. You've got it all in Louisa, and it's just a really peaceful place. It's the quiet atmosphere away from the hustle and the bustle. That's why I say Louisa, the pro number 4, is peaceful. So that brings us to con number 5. And I'm going to talk about that. Of course, the area I'm in is not going to be very conducive to that. But con number 5 is really going to be population size. Why do I say that? Well, you've seen the rural aspect. And there's some urban aspects. So I'm not trying to say it does not exist. I'm going to give you a view around. So this is actually Zines Crossroads. And you have a beautiful big Lowe's. You have a huge Walmart Supercenter. Sheetz, gas, Subway, car wash. Spring Creek, which is a gated community. Wendy's. There's a chicken place. So there's a lot going on. But overall, it's going to be a con. And why is that? Because when you have fewer people, when you have more cows than you have people, you're not going to have the resources because the cows don't pay taxes, although the cows make money. So fewer people, smaller community, you're going to have less services. That's why there's no really public transportation. You're going to have fewer activities for kids. You're going to have fewer opportunities for the elderly, whatever it is. The smaller population means smaller services, and that in my book is a con. So we're skirting right in, and the last one is Pro 5. So I've shown you the rural nature of Louisa. I've shown you the community aspect. I've shown you, the hustle and bustle. So Pro number 5 to me would be the ability to make it and find your own. Now, what do I mean by that? Affordability varies from person to person. I might think a $200,000 house is expensive if I'm working a minimum wage job. Yet I might think a $1 million house is very doable if I am selling my home that I raised my family in and I am moving on to bigger and better things. So affordability is obviously person to person. But I think what Louisa gives us is the ability to make it your own. Right across the street in Spring Creek, it's a gated community, beautiful homes. There's townhomes, there's single family homes, and I think there's also some cottage homes. But living in Spring Creek is a lot more affordable than, say, living in Charlottesville or living in Richmond. I can get a beautiful home in Spring Creek for the low 400s. But here's the other thing. That might be not attainable for some of you right now. So the other thing is I can also buy a resale of a cottage in the outskirts of Louisa, have the same commute time to Richmond or to Charlottesville, and it would fall into the 200,000 area. So the ability to make it your own, I think Louisa really does, even more so. And I say that a lot about the different communities, and I encourage you to check out the different communities: Charlottesville, Albemarle, Greene, Waynesboro. Louisa is different because you have both the hustle and bustle, but you also have the solitude of very agricultural area. And yet you are smack dab in between Charlottesville and Richmond. So it gives you all the options that only you can decide. Louisa, Virginia, right for you. You just saw, you've heard, you've seen pros and cons. So again, I'm not the Chamber of Commerce. That's not my job. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. What I'm trying to do is be a good neighbor and make sure that you find the place you need to be. And whatever that move is, if that is Louisa, phenomenal. We will make sure you find the right place, whether it's a gated community or whether it's a 2-acre parcel where you're going to build your own homestead. So whatever it is, I just want to make sure that you're taken care of. Drop me a note, give me a call, shoot me a text, let me know what it is that I can help you with. And you know what? The other thing is if this has helped you at all, please give me a thumbs up. Again, I'm out here in front of, 2,000 of my best friends walking around and talking to you. So I want to know that somebody's actually watching and appreciating and getting the information they want. If you have a suggestion of what you would like to see, where I should go next, what I should talk about next, I would love to hear it. Leave me a comment below and I will absolutely respond. So until next time, check out some of my other pros and con videos. I've got them all around the area from Charlottesville to Albemarle to Green, Fluvanna, Louisa. We've got you covered when living in Charlottesville.